I start this training, I was going down the list of people on this call, and it is wonderful to see so many familiar faces, people that I call friends in Europe, in ASEA. Just fantastic to see them here. So good morning to you. But it's also great to see so many new names, new people catching the vision of this incredible company and opportunity. And I think just for those people, maybe just very briefly, I'll tell you my own story. I'll keep it very, very brief because I want to get into this important training. But I'm originally from Ireland, and I am in Ireland right now. But I live in Dallas, Texas. And I cut my teeth. I discovered the network marketing industry back in 1993. I had just graduated with a degree in international finance. And I found myself to be psychologically unemployable. I didn't want a job. I wanted to be my own boss. Freedom was the most important thing to me. And I actually went to Africa for a year. I put on a backpack and I traveled 22 countries in Africa, hoping to find myself. But I didn't. So I started a master's in finance. And when I was starting my master's in finance, I was introduced to the incredible business model of network marketing. And I fell in love with the concept of being able to build beyond myself, to be able to build leveraged income. I find myself falling in love with the concept of residual income. I could do the work once, but I could get paid over and over and over again. And even global income, that my business could expand into all sorts of areas of the world, and I could experience 24/7 income, a business that never sleeps, leveraged income, residual income, and global income. And that absolutely fascinated me. And so I got started with my first company. And I was with that company for almost 7 years, and I learned a lot. But this ties in a little bit to what I'm talking about today. I became disillusioned with the industry. I find that I loved the business model, but I couldn't find the right company in the business model. Maybe some people on this call can relate to that. And there were really two things that I was looking for. I was looking for an exceptional, unique product, a story that had never been told before, a new category of science that had a tremendous impact on people. And that does not come along very often. The second thing I was looking for was a company that I could trust, a company that put people and principles ahead of just ego and economics. And of course, you all know the story of the genesis of ASEA, where they said no to the payout and yes to the people. And I left the network marketing industry for nearly 8 years because I could not find those two things, a powerful, unique product story and a company I could trust. Two very simple things, but very, very hard to find. I then, in 2009, my father got sick with a very serious health challenge, and I went looking for something to help his body heal. And that something ended up being our powerful redox signaling molecules and ASEA. I was so intrigued with this technology, I flew to Salt Lake City. I sat down with the owners of the company, Vertus Norton, Tyler Norton. I sat down with the atomic medical physicist, Dr. Gary Samuelson, and they opened up the world of ASEA to me. Now that was 10 years ago, okay? 10 years I've been telling the story of ASEA, and it never gets old. It is the most amazing story in the network marketing industry, in the health and wellness industry. It's a phenomenal story. And so I will tell you that within 4 months of using the product, my father was probably the first person in Ireland to drink the product. I was shipping the product over to him. And within 4 months, my father was healthy and well. My wife had an incredible 24-hour experience with the product. And that was enough to really go out there and start sharing this. And again, that was 10 years. And what I've learned in this business is that you've got to stay in the game long enough until what? Until perhaps you believe in yourself, until you believe in the company. You've got to stay in the game long enough until you develop the skill sets that you need to achieve the success you deserve. One of the ways to stay in the game long enough is to make sure your thinking is good. And this is the foundation of our entire business. And that's what I want to talk about here today. But again, a real pleasure to be here on today's call in Europe. So let me ask you a question. Who are you doing business as? Okay? Who are you doing business as? When you wake up in the morning, how are you thinking? What is the voice? What are the voices inside your head saying? And I want to maybe show you this. I think a lot of people have seen this. Success, if success was just what we did, then it would just be a straight line. We would do something, have success, do something, have success, do something, have success. But success isn't. Success is a squirrely line. It's one step forward, two steps back. It's two steps forward, one step back. It's 4 steps forward and no steps back. And then it's 5 steps forward and 6 steps back. Okay? It's forward, it's back, it's left and right. It's all over the place. That's the journey of success. So how do you keep yourself focused on where you need to go? How do you keep yourself focused on what winning looks like? Well, you see, building a network marketing business is simple, but it's not easy. The skill sets, what we do, are simple, but mastering the mindset, that's what makes it challenging. Without the correct mindset, the skill sets do not matter. Another way to explain this is like this. The mindset is the foundation. How we think is the foundation to everything in this business. On top of that, we then have skill sets, what we do, how we say it, what do we say, who do we talk to, okay? And then on top of that, we've got what we call tool sets. What videos do we use to tell the story? What presentation do we give to people? Or how do we do the Renew 28 test? That's Renew 28 would be a tool set in this example. But you can see the foundation to everything is mindset. Another way to think of this is if you imagine a beautiful big oak tree. And imagine this is your business. It starts off small and it begins to grow branches, we would call legs, but it begins to grow branches, and those branches grow branches, and those branches grow more branches, and you want to develop this beautiful oak tree. But the foundation of that oak tree are the unseen roots, hidden beneath the ground. They don't even look that attractive. Now, what are the 2 most important purposes of the roots? Number 1, they are there to nourish the tree. They're there to feed the tree good things. Now, I often think one of the most important roots in our business is the root of desire. What do you want? How badly do you want it? You see, when I started 10 years ago, I was in a place where I was financially embarrassed. I had just got married. I had just brought my beautiful bride from Ireland to America to live the American dream with me. And yet now I was financially embarrassed. I was paying the rent with my wife's credit card. My other businesses weren't working out very well. And so when ASEA crossed my path and I saw this exceptional product and I saw this incredible company, this was my chance. And I had this burning desire. My root of desire was very strong and very, very deep. And it nourished the tree. And that's why I was able to go diamond within 10 months in this business, because I had a burning desire to build this business. The second root is belief. Now, belief is a root that holds the tree in place. Desire nourishes the tree, feeds the tree, but belief nourishes the tree. I already believed in the industry of network marketing. I very quickly believed in the company ASEA. I very quickly believed in the product ASEA. And through many, many years of struggle, through many years of growth, through many years of working on myself, I believed in myself. And so my belief was solid and my belief was strong and stable. So when the storms came along and the wind came along and the people said no, the people said, that's just a bottle of salt water. Oh, that's one of those things. My tree stayed strong because my roots of belief were absolutely rock solid. They were large and strong, okay? Now, this is very important, guys, because 10 years ago, I guarantee you, I had a lot more storms than you have in your business today. We had virtually no science. We had no videos. We had no great promotions going on. We had a very small corporate team. We were only in the United States. And so we had really nothing to build our business on except lives changed. But your desire is strong and your belief is strong. So the tree grows. You feed it and it stays strong. Now, what I want to talk about on today's call is the third root, which is the root of attitude. And I find that one of the keys to a great attitude is managing your emotions. And that's really what we're going to talk about on this call. We could do a training on desire. We could do a training on belief. But what I really want to focus on is attitude. Now, there are many, many, many different attitudes. But again, the one I want to talk about is managing your emotions. Now, one of the best ways to have a great attitude and to have a great emotion, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about this business, how you feel about your opportunity, is to have an attitude of gratitude, okay? Now, I believe that what you focus on grows and expands. What you focus on with your thoughts gives mental energy to what you're focusing on, and it grows and it expands. Where the focus goes, the energy flows. And what you focus on grows and expands. So focus on what you do have, not what you don't. Don't start every morning and saying, well, I'd like to build an ASEA business, but I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. What I'd say is focus on, I want to build an ASEA business. What do I have? What are my resources? What do I have available to me? What are the positive things that are going on in my life? What are the great things that I can focus on? What do I want to have more of in my life? Because what you focus on grows and expands. So do you wake up in the morning focusing on all the negatives, or do you wake up in the morning focusing on the positives? Now, it's not pretending that the negatives don't exist. You're not living in a bubble. There are realities to life, but don't give it energy. Focus on the positive. Focus on what you want more of. Don't focus on what you want less of. Don't focus on what you're trying to avoid. Acknowledge it, but focus on what you want more of. Okay? Abundance, success. And start every single morning with this simple activity. 3 things that you're grateful for. It could be a sunny day. It could be the rain. It's raining in Ireland. I'm grateful for the rain because it makes Ireland look so beautiful and green. It is the Emerald Isle. Okay? Maybe you're thankful for your puppy dog that's at your heels and greets you every morning like it's the first morning they've ever seen you. It doesn't matter, but start that attitude of gratitude every single morning. 3 things that you're grateful for. And when you go to bed at night, 3 more things that you're grateful for. Okay? It could just be a soft pillow. That's what you're grateful for. So that's the first attitude of gratitude. It's a very powerful exercise. 3 in the morning and 3 at night. The next one is you've got to develop emotional stability. In order to manage your emotions, you've got to be careful that your emotions aren't too high and your emotions aren't too low. Let me give you an example. And some of the people that have been in this business long enough can relate to this example. You sponsor somebody into the business and they have got years of network marketing experience. They're looking for a new home. They find ASEA, you fly them to the company. They are so impressed. They come back and they tell you, I am going to build this. I am going to be number 1. Get out of my way. You have no idea. You can retire. Go to the beach. Buy your holiday home because I'm going to make you so much money. I'm going to build this business so big, so fast, people are going to wonder what happened. Let me get at this. and you're way up here. You think, holy smoke, I have found a superstar. Your emotions are so high, you can't sleep. You're starting to look at new car catalogs and boat catalogs and house catalogs, and you're imagining yourself walking the stage as a presidential diamond, and your emotions are so high. You're on fire. You're on top of the world. Well, then you call this new person a few days later, and you can't get hold of them. And you want to introduce them to some other people, and you want to see how they're getting on, and you want to see how their product experience is. And you finally get hold of them, and they say, well, yeah, I got the product, and it tastes kind of funny, and it's just a bottle of salt water, and yeah, I don't think I can do this because my mother wouldn't drink the product. My wife wouldn't drink the product. My kids wouldn't drink the product. I don't want to do this anymore. And now you're way, 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 way down here. You went from all the way up here to all the way down here. Now, I want you to think about driving your car, slamming on the accelerator, and then slamming on your brake, and slamming on the accelerator and slamming on the brake, slamming on the accelerator, slamming on the brake. What would happen to your car? You would burn the engine out. Your car would be useless. You would blow up your car, okay? And that's what happens to us when we're too high and too low, and then too high and then too low. You've got to manage your emotions. You've got to develop emotional stability. You want it to look a little bit more like this, okay? Enjoy the ride. Bring the highs down a little bit. Don't get excited too easily. Bring the lows up a little bit. Don't get depressed too easily. Find a middle ground, okay? That's not a straight line. There's still a few little ups and downs, but learn to manage your emotions. That will allow you to stay in the game long enough until. So don't fall in love with people's potential. Don't fall in love with what people say they're going to do. Fall in love with what people actually do, okay? I have seen lots and lots of people over the last 10 years come into this business and tell me, get out of my way, I'm going to conquer the world of ASEA. They do nothing. So don't fall in love with people's potential. I've also seen that very quiet person just quietly use the product, talk to a few people, and they end up growing into an incredible diamond leader in this business. Sometimes the ones you think will, won't, and the ones you think won't, will. Okay, the next thing is learn to become indifferent, okay? Master indifference. Indifference makes the difference. So what do I mean by this? When we're out prospecting with somebody, we might get, we get yeses or nos or maybes, but sometimes we get emotionally attached to them saying yes. We want them to say yes. You know, we approach somebody and say, hey, listen, if I had an astonishing health technology that was changing lives, that for 2 decades science said was impossible, and yet it's just having miraculous impact on people, does that sound like something you might like to know more about? And you've got to remain emotionally detached from the answer, okay? Imagine you're like the flight attendant walking down the plane, and they're going, would you like peanuts? Would you like tea, coffee, soft drink, Coca-Cola? Hey, would you like peanuts? Soft drink, Coca-Cola, tea, coffee. And they don't get emotionally attached to whether you say yes or no. They don't care. Listen to that. They don't care. They don't care whether you want coffee, tea, peanuts, Coca-Cola. They don't care. Their job is to ask every single person in every seat, would you like tea, coffee, Coca-Cola, peanuts? And their job is to ask every single person and then get to the back of the plane when they sit down. Okay? That's their job. Their job is not to convince people that they want Coca-Cola. You see, prospecting is sifting and sorting, looking for people who want what you have. It's not convincing and selling people that they need what you have. You're not here to change people's eye color. So you do not become emotionally attached to the outcome. Instead, you keep emotionally engaged in the process, in the next person. Now, I learned this from the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change if you want tea or coffee. That's your choice. I don't have any control over that. I have no choices. I have no control over whether you think your health is important. I have no control over whether you're hungry for financial change in your life. I have no control over that. So I have the serenity, the peacefulness, the calm to accept that. That's your choice, not mine. But the courage to change the things I can. So God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can. What's the courage? The courage to take the next step. The courage to ask the next person. The courage to go from row 2A to row 2B, or sorry, 3A to 4A to 5A. Go down the plane, asking the next person, having the courage to ask the next person. Hey, if there was a revolutionary health technology that was 10 to 15 years ahead of its time, that for 2 decades science said it could not be done, and it's having an astonishing impact on people's health and well-being. Hey, Bob, does that sound like something you might be interested in learning more about? The courage to ask the next person. And then the wisdom to know the difference. That is the true success here, the wisdom to know the difference. So do not try and have control over things you have no control over. You see, when you try to have control over things that you have no control over, you begin to, you burn yourself out. Your emotions are too high. Your emotions are too low. You have no emotional stability. You're up and you're down and you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down. Have serenity, peace, okay? Now, another way to develop emotional stability, to manage your emotions, is to change your philosophy on challenge. Embrace the challenge. Don't try and avoid challenge, but embrace challenge. Challenge is not a bad thing. Challenge does not mean things are going wrong. Challenge is part of the journey. And you see, we get fooled a little bit in this business. People see the tip of the iceberg. They don't see everything underneath. They see success, or as I like to say, people see the glory, but they don't see the story. You see, we don't have enough time here for me to tell you my challenges when I got started. I don't have time to tell you all the challenges, all the heartache, all of the difficulties, all of the things I had to overcome. What you see is an ambassador diamond that's made a tremendous amount of income, impacted a tremendous number of people. You see the glory, but you don't know the story. And it's the same with many of your leaders, your wonderful diamond leaders in Europe. You see their success, but many of you do not know the story, the late nights, the struggles, the doubts, the courage, the disappointments, the sacrifices, okay? You just see the tip of the iceberg, but you've got to understand there's a whole lot more beneath the surface. And so when challenges come along, it's easy for you to think, well, there must be something wrong. I bet you Alan never had any challenges. I bet you Cecil Anderson never had any challenges. I bet you Mijou never had any challenges. I bet you Morton never had any challenges. Okay, so you've got to understand challenges are part of the journey. So let me give you some examples. You see, we buy into this. We see this and we think, oh, it must be wonderful to have a dog. Look how well you would sleep with a dog. Well, this is the reality, guys. This is real life right here, okay? Or what about this one? I saw this and I said to my wife, Tanya, we should have a baby. Look how beautiful you will look and look how well you will sleep. I mean, a baby is obviously fantastic for sleeping. Well, the reality is a little bit more like this. All right, here's my favorite. We look at network marketing and we see this. We see the successful entrepreneur. We see the designer suit, maybe the Rolex on the wrist. We see the beautiful, expensive car. We see the palm trees of a luxurious part of the world. And we go, well, that's what success looks like. Well, you see, here's a picture. Here's a picture of what success looks like. Okay, this is Morten Andersen. I got this picture. This is Morten Andersen working on his business. Okay, that's what it looks like. This is Nisa working on his business. That's what it looks like. Okay, and so we buy into the glory, but we don't see the story. So when something happens, when you have to get your hands dirty, you think, oh, there must be something wrong. There's something wrong with the business. There's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. It's part of the journey. And we all go through it. We just don't talk about it a whole lot. Well, I'm talking about it today. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with you. It's part of the journey. So understand, you get paid to overcome challenges. You want to develop the mindset of fascination, not frustration. So when something happens to you, you step back. You don't get angry. You don't go way down here. You step back and you go, isn't that interesting? When somebody says, well, I feel better now. I don't need to drink the product anymore. Well, isn't that interesting? I want to build a massive business and then you can't get hold of them on the phone. Well, isn't that interesting? So Jim Rohn, great philosopher, he said, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skill. Don't wish for less challenges. Wish for more wisdom. Adversity will squeeze out your true character. Now, I've only got 2 more slides here and then I'm done. The youngest female billionaire in history. Her name is Sarah Blakely. Now, Sarah Blakely owned a company with the Spanx company. I believe it's well known in Europe as well as America. The Spanx company, my wife calls them the sucky in pants, okay? And so these, she was interviewed. What is the secret to your success? Okay? And here's what she said. My dad encouraged us to fail. Growing up, he would ask us, what did we fail at that week? If we didn't have something, he would be disappointed. It changed my mindset at an early age that failure is not the outcome. Failure is not trying. Don't be afraid to fail. You see, people don't talk to the next person because they're afraid they might get a no. And they think a no is bad. A no is not bad. When you emotionally disconnect yourself, when you emotionally cut the ties to that no, it's just a no. There's no emotion to it. There's no emotion to it. So failure is not, see, people, it's almost like they have to go through this business and they're walking through this business and they're trying to avoid the no's. And it's like no's are like landmines and they're trying to avoid them and they're trying to step here and they're trying to step there and they don't surge forward. If you just surge forward and you keep moving forward and don't worry about the no's, don't worry about the maybes. It's not failure. Failure is not trying. Failure is not asking the next person. The #1 income earner in ASEA, Trish Schwenkler, simply says this: 2 a day brings freedom my way. Asking 2 people every single day about, hey, do you know about redox signaling? Hey, if there was a health technology that could transform your life. Hey, if there was a business opportunity that could allow you to earn additional income. Whatever your questions are, 2 a day. And don't worry about the answer. Don't worry about yes or no. That's not failure or success. It's simply, failure is simply not doing. Now, I want to leave you with this last slide. Recently, I will be 50 in December. I'm 49 and a half, and I will be 50 this December. And I decided that I wanted to be in the very best shape of my life by the time I hit 50 years of age. So I hired a personal trainer. And I started working out with a personal trainer. And I've made great progress. You can't see on this webinar. But this personal trainer actually went off to become, he wanted to become a Navy SEAL. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie G.I. Jane, the story. Demi Moore's the actress, and it's the story of she wants to become a Navy SEAL, the first woman to do this. And in this, they've got this thing called Hell Week, okay? And Hell Week is where these soldiers are put through just terrible tests. They're in the ocean. They're carrying boats over their head. They're holding it there for hours, and it's just grueling. It is Hell Week, okay? But they can go home. See, they're cold. They're hungry. They're scared. They're exhausted. And they can go home by simply ringing the bell. Just ring the bell. Ring the bell, and you can go home. Simple as that. Ring the bell, and you can go get some sleep. You can go have some hot food. You can go have a shower. You can get out of this. You can quit. Just ring the bell. And I talked to my trainer, and I said, because he was getting ready to go through Hell Week, and I said, what makes the difference? What makes the difference to those that stay and achieve their goals and those that ring the bell? I'm really interested. What makes the difference? Because they all have desire. They all have belief. I mean, to get to this level, to be chosen for this program, you've got to be good. So what makes the difference? It has to be something else. And he said there's two things. The first is the people that survive recognize that they are part of a team. The ones that don't are solo. They're Rambo, by themselves. I can do this, okay? So team, together, everyone achieves more. Rambo rarely achieve much by oneself, okay? So the ones that come in, that puff out their chest, flex their muscles and go, I can do this. I'm the best. I don't need anybody. They fail. They ring the bell. They're crying like a baby. The ones that recognize that they can't do it by themselves, but they're part of a team, they're the ones that survive. Now, you have an opportunity in ASEA to try and do this all by yourself, or you can plug into your team. And I would highly encourage you to plug into your team, because that is going to help you keep your emotions steady so that you can stay in the game long enough. The other thing he told me is the people that survived had an ability to make their world smaller. I thought, well, that's strange, because you would think the ones with the bigger vision, the bigger picture of success, they would be the ones that would stay in the game. And he said, no, it's too overwhelming. It's almost like the goals are so big. See, in our business, I want to be a triple diamond. I was talking to a Director 700 last week who was telling me their goals to become a presidential. Now, I'm not a presidential yet. And here's this Director 700. They've been in the business for a couple of years, and they're telling me their goals to be a presidential. Guys, it's too much. It's too big. It's too overwhelming. They're going to ring the bell. You've got to make your world smaller. So in the Navy SEALs, it's the world becomes today. Today. I will not quit today. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow, maybe I'll quit tomorrow, but today I will stay the course. You see, they brought their world so small that they could emotionally manage today. That's all they had control over, today. The ones that didn't survive were thinking too big. And so they were going through on Monday these horrible exercises, and they thought, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I can't do this. I'm ringing the bell. But the ones that survived brought it smaller and just went, Monday morning, I'm not quitting. Monday morning, Monday afternoon, I'm not quitting. Monday afternoon, Monday evening, I'm not quitting. Monday evening, not quitting, just Monday evening. I'll quit tomorrow, but I will not quit today. They made the world smaller. Guys, that's another way to manage your emotions. Yes, we have to have the big picture, the big dream of what ASEA can mean in our lives. But when it comes time to get to work, make your world smaller. Stay focused on smaller units of activity, smaller time frames. Otherwise, it becomes too overwhelming and your emotions go up and your emotions come down. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Laying the foundation of your success is all about who are you doing business as? What is your desire? What is your belief? What are your attitudes? Managing your emotions so you can stay in the game long enough until you experience the success you deserve. Guys, this business works. This product works. Sometimes you've just got to stay in the game long enough until you figure out how to get out of your own way. And that's why you've got to manage your emotions so you can stay in the game long enough. So thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you for listening here this morning. And I want to wish you all the success that you believe you deserve. And I'll hand it back to you, Edward.